Today, I'll show you 3 Veo3 techniques that you may not yet know about, but which can help you a lot with your content automation work. And I'll also upload this n8n template in the link below so that you can just grab the relevant nodes for yourself and also play around with it. But watch till the end because you may just add a new skill point in your growing automation knowledge skill stack. Let's get started. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Jay. I lead my own AI creative agency and also founded the RoboNuggets community. We have a couple hundred members now who are all AI practitioners located across the globe. And where the mission here is simple, is to make creating with AI easy to learn no matter what your background is. And so this video is no exception. What I'll be providing you are 3 specific techniques that you can apply for your Veo3 and content automation workflows today. Okay, let's go through these 3 techniques. So the very first one is probably familiar to you if you're already intermediate to advanced when it comes to n8n. And this is basically the switch node, which is very useful with content automation workflows as well. Because if you recall, with a lot of the automations that we feature in this channel, the pattern by which you can call on an AI model, like for example, Veo3, would be the following. You have this request node to call on that AI model to do a job for you. You wait a bit until that job finishes, and then you have this get video step for you to get that video when it finishes. But sometimes if that video is still processing under the hood, you have this if node just to capture that scenario, and it just routes back to the wait node for us to wait a bit more if in case that video is still processing. And so it just loops continuously up until that video is ready. The problem happens if on the back end there was some sort of error when it comes to video generation, which we can actually simulate by submitting an image and written prompt through these nodes, which is linked to my Telegram. So what I'll do is just connect that to this if node automation that we have at the bottom. And what I'll do is just execute this workflow and send this prompt and image to our automation. So let's say that we want to animate this image of Aquaman. So that should trigger the automation, which you can see here has been successfully passed to Veo3 for generating, which for this run, we are using Key AI like we featured in a lot of our workflows because it's currently the cheapest when it comes to automating with Veo3. However, if we go to the logs here, go to Veo3, you'll see that that specific task we did already resulted to a failure. So what happened here is, yes, we were successful in requesting for the task to be submitted, which was the reason why this ran properly. But when it came time for Veo3 to actually generate the video, you can see that the error says here that it was rejected by Google's content policy because we tried to generate a video featuring Aquaman, which is a prominent person. So the problem with this current workflow, as you can see, is it's just looping indefinitely. So if you're encountering this issue where it never finishes running, that's most likely because under the hood, the Veo3 task has already failed. The good news is you didn't really get charged for that task, so that's still good. But obviously you don't want this case to happen where it just loops indefinitely without an end in sight. So having an if node here is just good for simplicity and for beginners. And for a lot of use cases, that's mostly enough. But when you're automating Veo3 using Key AI, for example, what you can actually do is use a switch node instead. And basically the difference with a switch is that it allows you to create multiple if statements or routes depending on if your generation has already been successful or generated, then you send a video. If it's still in progress, then we map back to the wait node. And then if it is an error, then we route it to this other node, which is basically going to stop the workflow and let you know that it has resulted to that issue. So to illustrate how that works and also what's inside the switch node, let's just remap this into this other stream right here. We'll execute this workflow again, and you'll see it's going to wait for a triggering event in Telegram. And then we're just going to pass the same prompt so that we can see what's the difference in this run. And now the workflow has finished, and this time it did not loop indefinitely, and we were able to automatically stop that workflow because of how this switch node handled that request. So if you open that up, you'll see that we have a couple of routing rules here, which is just checking this success flag attribute from the previous node. And this may vary depending on the AI model aggregator service that you are using. In this case, for Key AI, the way that they signify if that generation has already been done is through this success flag. So if this number is 1, which you'll see in a bit once we go to the other techniques, that basically means that the generation is done, which is why we have set this rule where success flag is equal to 1 to be named as success. If that success flag is 0 coming from the previous result, that actually means that this request is still in progress, which is why we named it as such. And then finally, what happened during this specific instance is that our success flag is marked as 3, which means that there was an error in generating. And so it's very simple. You basically just have 3 very specific branches that are practically 3 if statements, right? So if you go back, those 3 if statements just have their own specific scenarios where if it's a success, it will send the video back to me. If it's still in progress, we just wait a bit. And if it threw an error, then we will just route it to this final node where we automatically stop that workflow. In fact, what you can even do if you are managing this all via Telegram without looking at n8n is that you can actually send yourself a message when it errors instead of sending yourself the video. So what you do is you just delete this, remap this to this other Telegram node. Let's rename this as send error. And then the operation, we just send a message, and then it's really up to us what to put in this text here. But for this case, we can just drag this error message here so that if we preview that, it will basically give us our error message back in Telegram. So if we go back and if I execute this, since it ran successfully, you'll see that instead of giving you the video back, it sent you the error message so that you are informed. So that is technique number one, which is very useful with a lot of content automation builds as well. And that actually leads us well into the second technique, which is the fallback mechanism, which a lot of people are not aware is possible yet. And to illustrate this, what we'll do is just send a sample image and prompt once again, and we'll map this first to this specific branch where we don't have the fallback mechanism. And then later I'll show you what happens when we map it to this fallback mechanism and what it does. So for this run, we'll just give it a task to animate this Wonder Woman image. So we'll send that over. And now that task has been passed to KAI and Veo3 once again. But as you can see here, it resulted to a failure because we once again triggered Google's content policy since that image featured a prominent person. So what do you do then if you have, for example, a valid use case or a license to use this character and you want to do some video animations using AI for it? Or another case is, it's been known to happen that with Google's content policy, it's possible that it's triggered by false positives. So let's say you have an image or a character that looks similar to a character that is copyrighted. This may trigger regularly for you as well. So an option that you can try out is the fallback functionality that KAI has. So what they did basically, which you can see here, they're describing as an intelligent backup generation mechanism. So when you're encountering these errors, what it does is route it to a backup model to continue the generation to improve the probability that the task that you're requesting will be successful. Now, one of the first questions that was asked when this was first released is to check if the backup model that's being used is Veo3 still. And as per KAI, it is. And it seems to be as well, because whenever this fallback mechanism is triggered, it produces audio with the video also, which at this point only Veo3 is capable of as far as we know. So it's most likely Veo3, but the only way to find out if it's useful for you is to try it out. So the way that you do that is by adding one single line to your HTTP post request. So what we can do is let's just reroute this to this second branch with the fallback mechanism enabled. And if we open this and scroll down to our actual request, you'll see that these 4 parameters are pretty much standard when it comes to requesting Veo3 animations from KAI. But this extra line, enable fallback being set as true, is the only line that you need to add in order to activate this fallback mechanism for your specific task. So what we can try to do is let's re-execute this workflow, and you'll see our Telegram is waiting for another input. We're going to send it the same prompt and image. And now we were able to request for that Veo3 animation to be done. And this time when the workflow finished processing, we were able to get a video back because of the fallback mechanism. So now I'd still just recommend this if in case you only really need it, because the way it works is that the credits that it will consume is actually 4 times versus the normal generation. So with KAI using Veo3, this translates to $1.6, which is much higher versus normal generations, which is only at 40 cents. And then the other limitation is that your video needs to be in landscape or 16:9 for it to work. However, that is an option for you to use if in case you're finding that a lot of your generations, at least in the specific use case that you're trying to do, is resulting to errors that Veo3 is throwing at you. And finally, the third technique that we will share is this high resolution mode. So with all Veo3 generations, the common output that you get is 720p, but there is actually a way for you to get 1080p out of every generation that you have using this specific node. So for us to show this, what we'll do first is to generate a video in the normal way, which is 720p, and we'll just link it to this automation here. And same as before, we'll just pass along an image and a prompt as well. And when that has finished processing, we now get this video, which is pretty good, but it's currently in 720p resolution. So if you're viewing this on a bigger screen, the smaller resolution will become more obvious, which I'll show more in a bit. But what we can do actually is to just map this route into this 1080p video. Let's just re-execute this step, send that prompt over again. And when that finished generating, we now get our 1080p video, which when you view in a larger screen is much sharper as well. And just to show the difference, we can zoom into those videos. This one is the 720p one, and this is the 1080p higher resolution video. So if you're viewing it on a larger screen, then the difference is much more visible for sure. And the great thing about this is if you're using KAI, whatever video you generate, you actually have the option to export it at 1080p. And all you really need to change is within your get HTTP request node. You just change the URL to this one, and that should fetch your 1080p video for you. Although a caveat with using this is that it does cost some money. So it's around 2 cents to get your 1080p video, which in my view, if you're doing this for a client, then this makes a lot of sense to do. And then the other limitation is currently it's only available for horizontal or landscape videos as well. But there you go, 3 very quick but useful techniques that you can do to sharpen your content automation skills further. So as mentioned, I'll upload this template just in the link below so that you can grab it and just grab the nodes and also play around with it yourself. And if you want to learn more about this space, then do check out the RoboNuggets community and see if that's for you. There are tons more other lessons here around artificial intelligence and automation for brands and content, which a lot of people join for. But the reason why people stay is because of the community of people and AI practitioners within the group. So have a check if that's for you. But that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.